And we get mad at our team when they become dependent on us, when we're ready to take that vacation, when we're so tired of carrying the whole load, when we're so tired of, needing seem like every decision needs to flow through us. We're so tired of every problem we got to be a part of to solve, when we need to come up with every solution and every new idea. And we don't realize that we are the causation as leaders and business owners. Oftentimes it's because we have some self-worthiness issues and some significance issues that we're solving through being needed by the very people we need to do the job themselves. This is The Leader You're Becoming, a show where we talk about leadership, stewardship, and building the type of business people actually want to work for. I'm Coach T. Let's get into it. Welcome back to The Leader You're Becoming. I am your host, Coach T. I'm so excited to have you here, and I don't take it lightly, you giving your most important resource to be here, which is your time. Now, if you don't know me, if this is your first time, I am Coach T. I have 2 decades at this point, years of experience around leadership, building business, and I'm just excited, and I feel like it's my heavenly duty to share exactly the lessons that I've been learning over these last 2 decades. Specifically, I've worked in, big corporate environments where it's, managing $300 million plus of revenue and multi-site locations, to working at a, local contractor and working directly with that entrepreneur and building the business up to be able to have options to sell the business, continue the business, et cetera, et cetera. And we did sell the business. And so it's just an opportunity that, like I said, I believe that this is my heavenly duty to share the lessons that I've learned, give some advice that I wish I had. And, 20 years ago, to be able to have a platform to be able to do this in this type of way just wasn't available to me. And so I just want to share what I've learned, my vulnerabilities, a lot of my mistakes, and that's what this is about. Right? And if this is your next time and this is not your first time listening, welcome back. I appreciate you for being here and giving us the most important thing that you have, in my opinion, which is your time. I can give you $100 and you can spend it and you can get another $100. But the time that you give to something, you don't get that back. At least we haven't figured that out yet. If we do, then we're going to have a whole nother show. We'll talk about that, right? And we'll all be trillionaires, just like Mr. Elon, right? We'll all be trillionaires at that point in time. So without further ado, last show we talked about, owners and leaders not being able to take a vacation. And this week, I actually want to build upon that topic. Right. Also, I just want to build on that again. And with the topic of today being like why the business still depends on you. And so if last time we talked about accountability being a core component within the business that's needed and necessary, right? And when we talk about accountability, we're not just talking about like just calling people out when something's there, but like that personal level of accountability, like you being the type of individual that others could mirror and want to mirror and lead and work with, your ability to be able to call out those things in a supportive way where you're teaching and showing people the way, and then also your ability to be able to close that loop, right? We talk about accountability. With this week now that we have accountability in place, now we're going to talk about, okay, well, let's talk about like how we look at responsibility. And I don't know if you've had this experience like I've had, where I don't believe that I can take a vacation, or I don't feel like I could take a vacation, right? Because like if I take a vacation, the ball's going to get dropped, or something's going to happen, or this vendor's going to get mad, etc. Or even worse, you go on vacation and you got your laptop with you. You took your laptop, or if you're like me and you got your cell phone and you got your cell phone locked in, and now your cell phone, you're just sitting on the beach or at the pool and you're just going through your cell phone that whole time, because you're just constantly solving issues. You're still solving problems on vacation. You are emailing, you are, constantly still attached to the business. You're out there building sales estimates and talking to clients and dealing with client issues and all these different things. Why? Because you don't trust that your people can get it done. And now this is where it's like, okay, but I have a level of accountability there, but do people actually have the capacity to do the job that they need to do? And this is where I fundamentally believe that leaders have gotten lost in the difference between managing people and developing people. And that is the key sauce to building capacity, where you may have accountability, but now you got to build some capacity for them to actually be able to do it. And so this week, I want to talk about a framework that I learned from one of the arguably one of the best companies ever in the history of companies in the United States, right? And I learned this concept that I've taken with me from my early management trainee days up until now, and it has been so helpful understanding this concept. And that is, it's called TTD. TTD is, what does that stand for? Teach, train, and develop. Right? You must teach your people, you must train your people, and you must develop your people. And we're going to talk about all three, because all three are different, but they all have to work in unison together in order for there to be real capacity and autonomy built into an employee or another team member or what have you, right? Whatever you call them, so that you can go take a vacation. You got that accountability. Now we got to build some capacity so that they can actually do the job, right? It can do the job. So with that being said, let's start with the T, the first T, teach. This is where you're exposing people to new information. All great leaders, business owners, you're a leader already. We always talk about this as a business owner. You are a leader. You're the top leader. You have to have the ability to be able to teach your people. If teaching is not your thing, you need to make it your thing. I was just talking to somebody, this morning, and I said, hey, if you're going to, take on this new opportunity and you're going to lead this new group of people, then your ability to be able to articulate yourself and teach in a manner that can spread across, genders and everything else, and sociological, economic, backgrounds and all that stuff. You're going to have to increase that while you're actually learning the technical skill of the role that you're going to be leading. You have to be able to take adults, right? Unless you're leading, non-adults, and you're going to have to be able to share new information with them in a manner that they can understand, that they can be receptive to, that meets them right where they are. You have to be able to teach. Now, why is teaching so important? Because teaching gives new ideas. One of my favorite authors, his name is Dr. Miles Monroe, and I talk about him, often on this show, where he says the only way to get rid of an idea is you have to replace it with a new one, right? You can't bomb an idea away, and this is not going to get political here, right? You can't war an idea away. You can't kill an idea. You can only replace an idea. And you as a teacher is your opportunity to replace some ideas that they have from old companies, replace their idea of what they didn't know what was possible, right? Your teaching is opening up the door for new possibilities for your people. So you have to be able to teach them said information, which is really filling their bucket up of new ideas, right? New perspectives. Over the last couple weeks, I ran a couple communication and trainings, and I had 2 different groups, 2 different weeks, and these were 2-day intensive, all day type of events. And during the most impactful thing at the event, when we're recapping what was the best part about the day, it was wow, I didn't think about these ideas before. I didn't even think that this was possible, or I never thought about it like that before. And as the instructor, right, the person running this class, leading it, it was amazing. That's exactly what I wanted to happen. That had to be the foundation, which was, let's open our mind up to the possibility. Let's open our mind up to the possibility that this can be done differently. This can be done better. This can be done more efficiently, or it can be done a different way, right? Maybe the new way that you're getting isn't better than the other way, but now you just have 2, or now you have 3, or you have 4, and now you have 5, now you have 6. And in this particular training, which we're talking about communication and some influence, right? And how like now your toolbox got 6 different tools in it. You're not just walking in hammering every single thing, hitting everybody with a hammer, because that's only going to work if they're a nail. It's only going to work if that other situation is a nail. And so that's where teaching comes in. It's so critical as a leader to be able to share information in a way that people walk away saying, wow, I got some new information. Wow, I have new possibilities. And so that's the first T, right? Got to commit to that. The first T is to teach. The next T is to train. Now, this is a little bit different, right? So now, training, and this is the one, funny enough, I struggle with. I've struggled with throughout my career because I grew up teaching, right? I started developing a teaching skill very, very early on, very early on in church. I started developing the teaching skill, right? Like in Sunday school and with my youth group and in my church, my local church, like the ability to be able to teach and share ideas and share for new information and in a way that like, even as a teenager, adults were like, oh, wow, I never thought about it that way. Or that's a unique perspective on it. So that part was cool. And for whatever reason, I thought, and this happens to a lot of leaders, I've seen this throughout my couple decades, I thought, well, if you teach it really well and you open their mind up to new ideas and they get super excited about it and they're like, yeah, I'm going to go take this and I'm going to go run with it, then you just walk away without the training, then you're going to end up in the same situation. And you're going to just frustrate yourself because you're going to be like, I taught you this. I taught it. I confirmed it. I got your signature that we finished it. You confirmed it. You passed the test. Well, there we go, right? Here we go, right? This is why learning doesn't stop at school. It doesn't stop at the test. You passed the test. Well, here goes the next component, which is the training. Now, the training specifically is training creates understanding, right? The good book says, with all thy getting, get an understanding. And that's been like on my heart the last couple weeks. With all thy getting, get an understanding, right? And so it talks about like training it creates capability. This is where, again, many leaders stop too early because what they do is they explain it once, like I talked about, and then after they explain it, they think, hey, I can walk away and go do something else. But training is repetition. Training is observation. Training is correction. Then they do it, right? So this is, I forget the name of the book. I believe it's a talent code. Yeah, I'm almost certain it's a talent code. If I'm wrong, I'll fix it later, right? Where they talked about like some of the greatest trainers and teachers would have, let's say, their baseball player, and they would watch how they hit, and then they would watch their form. They would watch it, and as soon as they had they were improper in their form, they would correct it immediately. If they're running a base and they cut the corner the wrong way, they would stop. Hey, this is what I saw. And it's immediate feedback, right? So that the myelin builds up, in our brains, right? It's that immediate feedback of the training. That's what training does. It gives immediate feedback. It's repetition. It's let's do it again. Let's try this again. Let's look at it another way. Let's rep this out again. And all right, let's break this huge swing, right? Down into 15 steps. And we're just going to work on step number 1. All right, now we've perfected step number 1. Now let's go to number 2. Oh, don't forget about adding in number 1. And then let's go to number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6. But hey, step 3 is failing again, but I'm still going to say something. It is the repetition. It is the willingness to be in there and correct it until that skill is built up. And this is where, it gets monotonous. It can feel the discipline of being in there and repping it out over and over and over with your team with the correction. Now, that doesn't mean, let me take a step back here. That doesn't mean I'm sitting next to them and I'm watching everything, every single second, all day long. Not at all. Right now, when it first starts, it might be that, right? It's, hey, I'm going to go do it. Now you do it. And then I'm going to do it, and then you do it. And now, guess what? You're going to do it, and I'm going to correct. That might be it. Like the first couple weeks of training or something like that. You may do that, and that's fine. But then at some point in time, you may say, okay, at this weekly interval, let's go ahead and look at your body of work And let's go ahead and take a look at, all right, call number one, or, assignment number one, or paper number one, or, presentation number one. And let's start to break this thing down and see all the areas where we can adjust and we can move and we can and improve on. That 1%, that level of detail is now you're building. Now you got all these new ideas, and now you're starting to teach them how to form. You see what I'm saying? Starting to teach them how to form these idea into practical skills, right? Into practical momentum. You're starting to put it together where they can use it into capabilities. This is where training and why training is so important. Then we move on. So now that we've taught, we've shared new ideas, we've opened their mind. Now we're starting to say, okay, let's start to form these ideas. Training. Then we get to develop. Now this is where it gets hard. Now I was good with this one. So teaching, I was like, yep. Training, I was like, okay, discipline. But then develop, I felt really comfortable with, right? Because I appreciate develop personally. I have a personal appreciation for develop. Develop is give them space to go do it. That is what development is, right? Giving them the space, right? And it's hard because most leaders like to jump in and become the hero. Most leaders like to jump in and be the hero. You may teach, some people may train, but then when the rubber hits the road, you still input yourself in it so that you can be the hero of that situation, so that you can still be needed. Oftentimes, as leaders, we're looking for our own significance at needing to be useful. Right? If we was in church right now, we'd be like, amen, amen, right? Your silence is an amen, I got you. Sometimes we actually have some internal worthiness issues and some internal significance issues that are only validated when we help our team. But then we get mad at our team when they become dependent on us, when we're ready to take that vacation, when we're so tired of carrying the whole load, when we're so tired of, seem like every decision needs to flow through us. We're so tired of every problem we got to be a part of to solve, when we need to come up with every solution and every new idea. And we don't realize that we are the causation as leaders and business owners. Oftentimes it's because we have some self-worthiness issues and some significance issues that we're solving through being needed by the very people we need to do the job themselves. And that's a level of self-awareness I have to have. It feels good when people ask me questions and I have an answer. It feels good. You know how many years of information that I put in and levels of understanding and reps? 2 decades, right? 2 decades. I got this. I'm ready to answer these questions now. I've waited for the day to answer these questions. And the greatest thing that I'm learning now is to help people answer the questions for themselves. If I taught them, I've trained them, and there's some things that you're not gonna be able to train everything. Now I need to give them a framework so that they can come to the realization of some things on their own, because then it will stick. Then they will own it. And then if they own it, now that dependency is gone and I can go take a vacation. I can go take a vacation and the business actually grows, maybe even more, because I'm not there anymore slowing it down. Or I'm not there slowing it down because I'm looking at the parts of the job that they're doing. I can go focus on more strategy. I can go focus on more recruiting. I can go focus on expanding out the vision of the business. See how this stuff flows together. Development is giving people the autonomy and the space to grow. This is, being able to let them make mistakes, to let them struggle. I was talking to a business owner about 2 months ago now. Yeah, about 2 months ago. And they were just like, I gotta have it my way. I gotta have it my way. And I'm like, yep. And you're gonna keep having it exactly your way. And you're gonna keep running through people because they're gonna get tired of you hiring them to do a job and then not letting them do the job, and you still doing the job and paying them for it. And then annoying them because they're paid to do a job. And just because they move the paper to the left side instead of the right side, you flipping out because the paper's on the right side. But it's inconsequential. It doesn't matter what side the paper is on. Is the paper being delivered, if you will? And that is where business owners, especially because you own the business and everybody has to listen to you at the end of the day, right? This is where you get trapped, where you're on vacation with your laptop because you don't allow people to struggle, right? You don't allow people to struggle, and there's learning in the struggle. There's growth in the struggle, right? Now, that doesn't mean that you have to allow reckless mistakes. I'm not advocating as a business owner allowing reckless mistakes. One of the way I like to look at it is it's the guardrails, right? You got guardrails up. I get that. You got to have your guardrails up. But within those guardrails, let them figure stuff out. Be present, right? Now, development is, hey, you got it. I'm over here and I'm no longer supporting. Remember, most middle managers are struggling. Most middle managers have the pressure because they don't have the proper, one of the reasons is because they don't have the proper support system in place. So development is not, I taught you, I trained you, and I disappear and I ghost you. No, it's now I gotta let you struggle. And then just like a kid, when they go out and play, and then they, in the playground for the first time, and they scrape their knee, and then they come back over crying, and you say, okay, you comfort them. Okay, you scraped your knee. Let's clean it up. Make sure we're all good. Okay, what were you doing? Oh, I was running. Okay, you were running. Yeah, what happened? I ran and I tripped over the ball. Oh, wow, you tripped over the ball. Okay, so what did you learn? I got to be more careful when I'm running, said the kid. Yep, you do. Go play again. Right? Go play again. And now pay attention to the balls and everything else that might be around that could cause you to trip and fall and scrape your knee. But if you scrape your knee again on something different, you're climbing up the jungle gym. I don't even think they have those anymore. Well, I'm dating myself now, right? You're climbing up the jungle gym and you fall down and you scrape your knee. Well, guess what? You got to be more careful when you're taking your steps on the jungle gym. Go back on the jungle gym. That is development. That is development. It isn't, oh, wow, you fell off the jungle gym. You know what? We're just going to remove the jungle gym. You know what? I'll climb the jungle gym for you. I'm going to climb it for you. Don't worry about it. You don't know how to climb it yet. It's okay. I got it. And now you mad because you supposed to be on another part of the playground and you up here spinning and you begrudgingly climbing this jungle gym when you should just let them climb it again. Yes, they scraped their knee. Look at your knee. You got scrapes on it too, from when you fell down and when you had to figure it out as a business owner or you had to figure it out as a leader. Guess what? Give your people that same thing. It doesn't have to be catastrophic mistake, right? You come in to save them. But at the end of the day, if it's catastrophic, but if it's not catastrophic, they'll figure it out. Okay, you pissed off a client. I'm sorry. Own it. Own it. We messed up. We dropped the ball. You're right. We were horrible. How can we move forward? That's it. You're right, Mr. Client. Hey, yep, little Susie, she was trying, and yes, she learned this new script. It sounded like she was a robot. It sounded like she wasn't doing a great job. I know she sounded like she was trying to sell you. I'm sorry. She's just trying to learn. She really does care. She really does want to help you. You really do have this problem. We really do have a solution as a business. I'm sorry, she's still learning. How can we move forward? How can we, in what world could we move forward in? And you just move on. And then you go back, you give a little bit more training with that team member, and you push them back out there. Because what'll happen is, over time, those reps start to stack up. Those skills, all that training start to stack up, right? And once it stacks up, they're going to be unstoppable. And I think about Kobe Bryant, and that's my favorite basketball player, and arguably my favorite athlete of all time. Not arguably, he is my favorite athlete of all time. That's my GOAT. And I remember he talked on a podcast years ago where he talked about, and he was like 10 or 11 years old. He did not score a point in a summer league. That's Kobe Bryant. He didn't score 1 point. And they said, why? And he said, because I was terrible. But then he started putting in 2 to 3 hours a day. And in 2 years, he became the best player in the state. He went from not scoring a point to 2 years later being the best player in the state. Why? Because he put 2 to 3 hours in the basketball every single day of practicing. Your people, right? His father, who played in the NBA and played overseas professionally, could have said, "Hey, you know what? This basketball thing ain't for you. Let me handle basketball." And then we wouldn't know if we wouldn't have the Kobe Bryant that many of us admire today. But he got the space to just get better. And so what I'm saying is, give your people the space to get better. Let them develop. Don't take the basketball away from them. Imagine if Kobe Bryant's dad, who played professionally and everything else, was like, "Man, son, you suck. Let me take that basketball. I got this basketball. He started taking all the shots. See, let's do it that way." And he didn't give him space to develop. We wouldn't have it today. And so I share that in the spirit of, let your people get the reps in. Encourage them. Close the loop. Sometimes, just like that kid, you may have to comfort them a little bit. Might have to hug them. You may have to go back and teach again. Maybe there's some more ideas, right, that were missed or forgotten, and then you got to train, but give them the autonomy to make the mistakes. And so I think about this. This show is called The Leader You're Becoming, right? This is hard stuff. I don't take this stuff lightly. This is hard. It's not easy to develop the ability to be able to teach. It's not easy to sit down and rep things out over and over again until there's a level of competence that is necessary. It's not easy to give people, all this autonomy and watch them mess up and make mistakes, sometimes at the cost of the business at the short term. But one of the things that I learned, after integrating EOS is one of the commandments of EOS is short-term pain for long-term gain. And I take that as a principle in life. Short-term pain, the development of them for that long-term gain. They now have a skill set and a level of autonomy that now allows me to go look elsewhere in the business, keep my eye over, but focus elsewhere a lot of my attention because they got it held down over here. And imagine if you can do that across your entire team. All your leaders are holding it down. All their first string and second string people, if you will, are holding it down. Now, when you go on vacation and you need to escape, you can really let it go and then focus on your family, your friends, or just the enjoyment of that vacation without needing to worry about what's happening back at home. All right? So that's what I got for you today. That's what we got today. Man, oh man, this is good. It was good. And it's a reminder. It was good because, it was a reminder to myself, right? You put the time in to share ideas and train people and give them the space and then be there to help them along the way as they're growing. You can't, I don't think you put a dollar amount on that, right? Because it spreads to their entire life. And so with that being said, I want to again appreciate you for your time. It's the most valuable thing you got. And if you ever need help with any of these things, the teaching, the developing, or the training and the developing, or what have you, or anything we talk about on the show, here goes my website and my contact information. I'm available to you, right? I'm available to you. And I'm actually looking at doing some cool things. I may, start a school channel where we can talk and engage a little bit more and have some fun there. But in the meantime, I coach directly, consult, advise quite a bit. And so with leaders, business owners that are like, hey, I need this business not to be dependent on me, and I'm building this team and I'm trying to create a level of accountability, right? And dependency. I'm trying to pull some dependency, off of this team from me. If that's the thing that you're looking at and you're working on and you want some help along the way, 2 decades of experience, what you benefited from this show, I'm here for you. Let me know. I got you. All right. So with that being said, God bless. Until next time, peace out.